True Detective Season 1 is considered by many to be the single best season of television, and by many, I mean us. Yes, we think it's the single best season of television, and within this legendary season, there's one scene that we think might rank as the best scene in the entire show. Today, Damon and I are going to break down this scene sequence by sequence, so grab a drink and buckle up. The scene takes place in episode 4 called Who Goes There, and if you haven't watched this show, you're fucking up. Go back and watch the show. Wait, no, hold up. First, finish this video, like and subscribe, then go watch the show. You know how this goes, I'll sell ass for subscribers, this is basically my OnlyFans. For those of you who watched season 1, welcome back. This scene is absolutely bananas, so let's try to relive it again.
Fucking knew it!
Now, before we dive into the actual project's raid scene, some backstory is needed. I'll try and be efficient with this, but if you don't want to hear me ramble, then we did include timestamps below, so you could just skip ahead to the section where the actual scene begins. For the rest of you who actually like to read, let's get going.
This is respect.
So, Detectives Cohle and Hart want to figure out where Reggie Ledoux is hiding because he's a prime suspect in the Dora Lane case that they're trying to solve. Despite being 6'7", Ledoux decided to skip playing in the NBA and focused on his career as a child molester and meth cooker.
Reginald Ledoux, 35. Stats rape charge against a 12-year-old.
And when it comes to cooking that meth, Ledoux might as well be Michael fucking Jordan. So Cohle finds out that Iron Chef Ledoux is cooking up some meth for a biker gang out of East Texas called the Iron Crusaders.
Which fight club? Iron Heroes or some shit. Iron Crusaders.
And this is where the fun begins. Cohle happens to know the Iron Crusaders since he ran with them back in his days as an undercover named Crash. It's dangerous though, because the Crusaders think that Cohle died on a raid. They don't know Cohle is a cop, and as far as he knows, his cover is still intact. So Cohle injects some ink and cayenne into his arm to make it look like he's a junkie, making his whole undercover persona more believable, and he steals some high quality cocaine from the evidence room. None of this is by the book, but sometimes you gotta skirt the rules to get results. Cohle ends up meeting with an old associate from the Iron Crusaders, a man named Ginger. The meeting occurs at a bar filled with Iron Crusaders, and honestly, the place is scary as fuck. Remember, no one on the force knows about this mission outside of Hart, so as Cohle is entering the biker hangout, Hart is the only one who can keep tabs on Cohle. Side note, during this entire timeline, Hart is going through a messy ass separation from his wife for cheating, so he's not exactly in the most locked in state.
I will skull fuck you, you bitch!
So Cohle meets up with Ginger, played by Joseph Sikora, who does a fantastic job in this role playing a scary biker gangster. Cohle tells some made up story about working security for a gang in Mexico, and Ginger is skeptical since he thought that Cohle was dead this entire time. Using the coke he stole from the evidence lab, Cohle says the gang he's running with wants to trade coke for meth.
My boys are looking to trade, coke for meth.
Ginger is skeptical, so he makes Cohle snort some coke, cut with some shit to get him high out of his mind. That way it'll be easier to tell if Cohle is bullshitting when he's completely blitzed off God knows what. Ginger, you want to offer your boy some? Just kidding, just kidding. Actually, not really. I've seen Matthew McConaughey snort coke in other scenes before.
Tutski. No, thank you though.
But this one carries a different level of danger and intensity. Right after Cohle takes the bump, Ginger asks him a question. Great fucking acting once again by Joe Sikora.
Now, who exactly are these guys?
Cohle does keep it together, and he lets Ginger also test out the coke, which indeed proves to be top notch. Ginger tells Cohle that the Crusaders have one cook who does all their work, which we as the audience know is that sicko Reggie Ledoux. Ginger wants to bring the deal to his boss Miles, but Cohle says, fuck Miles, let's just work this deal by ourselves. Ginger is skeptical because he can't trust Cohle, unless Cohle does something for him, and this is what prompts the entire lit-ass project scene. Ginger had a 4-man team for a robbery, but lost one of the guys, so now he needs a replacement. If Cohle joins him on this robbery, he'll talk about putting him in touch with Ledoux. Now, the original plan was for Cohle to find a way to get 1v1 with Ginger and then basically kidnap him with Hart. This detour would completely fuck things up, and there's no way for Hart to know what's going on, so he can't have Cole's back right now. Cohle tries to back out, but Ginger grabs his nutsack and leaves him no choice. Personally, I gotta start using this negotiation tactic in my own life.
All right.
What you get neutered down south? Huh?
The only way for Cohle to get to Ledoux is to go on this mission, so all of a sudden he's on a dinghy boat and they're off. He doesn't have a chance to warn Hart, but fortunately Hart sees him getting escorted away. Damon, we gotta take a break right now. The backstory is fucking crazy. Give me your thoughts.
I gotta zoom in on my boy Russ Cohle here. Of all the top-notch TV detectives, Russ stands out to me because of his ability to play the undercover role to a T. The man's never been afraid to take a risk. The way he checks out the scene at the bar with a thorough ocular pat-down is crisp, and he slips into the role of a strung-out biker. Almost a little too well. Him telling his well-crafted backstory during the pivotal exchange while being absolutely lifted off that spiked powder concoction gives me some Training Day vibes. There's no easier contrast with Russ's ability to blend in than Marty's sloppy-ass attempt to infiltrate the bar. Not even a fake tat or a leather jacket. Plus, everyone knows undercovers love to wear those lame-ass plain hats. These guys don't care about your friend's hypothetical sobriety, Marty. 85% of this bar is snorted angel dust in the last 24 hours. You can tell Russ is having a wild-ass time because we're talking about a guy that was having acid flashbacks just by staring at freeway lights. His prefrontal cortex isn't exactly resilient to a chemical romance right now, and the fact that he's holding all of this together gives a testament to both how locked in he is and how strange he is at the same time.
We see. Our space-time would look flattened.
Like an actor that's got a little too far into his role.
Absolutely agree there, Damon. So now let's move on to the next scene, which I want to call pre-gaming the actual robbery. Cohle is at the trailer with the rest of the robbery crew. More drugs are being consumed, which on one hand I understand because committing armed robbery is such an insane act that it's kind of hard to be sober for it. On the other hand, not being sober could result in you making a fatal mistake and getting fucking killed. My solution is don't do the robbery, but hey, I'm just a schmuck making YouTube videos. The plan for the robbery is absolutely wild. Ginger's crew has captured a local drug dealer named Tiger Thomas who traps out of the Holston projects. Holston's gang has a stash house in the projects, but it's obviously going to be well defended. Using Tiger as a hostage, Ginger's crew plans to raid the stash house and steal a bunch of money. It's such a fucking stupid plan, but they did manage to steal some police uniforms, and since they're white guys, they're going to pretend to be cops going on a routine raid. Cohle quickly realizes that this plan is basically suicide, and you can see his wheels turning. If trouble comes, they're just gonna fuck it in the ass.
We hit trouble. You're just gonna fuck it in the ass.
I don't know what the fuck that means, but I kinda like it.
So you have thought it out.
Cohle gets a promise from Ginger that if he helps him pull this bullshit plan off, Ginger will indeed put him in touch with Ledoux. The crew grabs Tiger and the raid begins. Meanwhile, Hart has no fucking idea where Cohle is and is just sitting in a parking lot waiting for Cohle to hit the burner phone. Damon, what do you think about that pregame scene?
Yeah, Marty's found out that the biker bar is not so friendly. Who would have thought? Russ stays composed and in character the whole time this goes down, even though his brain is essentially doing this. Due to the dopamine roller coaster it's on from everything he's ingested, watch where his eyes go and realize that he's taking in info on this crew the whole time, assessing vulnerabilities and putting together exactly how brain dead these guys are. There's some funny moments where Rust almost can't hide the lack of confidence he has in the scheme. I mean, look who's crafting it.
You going in as cops, huh? Yeah.
Would you trust this guy?
Maybe. I don't know. Not really.
Then he flashes his instincts, knowledge, and his strategic confidence with the exchanges in the scene.
4 guys? Well, how big's the projects, man? Like square block wise?
And him going in first to get Tiger supports the quote-unquote gunslinger aura he's playing into so that he continues to hold the trust of the Iron Crusader contingent. Nothing he does is accidental here.
So here's the exciting part, and we're gonna break this down sequence by sequence and just completely nerd the fuck out. We get a skycam view of the biker gang and Cohle rolling into the projects at night. There's a police helicopter above scoping out the scene, but everything seems peaceful for now, so it's just another routine night. The chopper veers off and we cut to the inside of the car where Cohle is telling Tiger that he better show the boys where the stash house is or else they'll fucking kill him.
You can die and lose your shit, or you could live.
Cole's got this quiet whisper drawl type of thing going on, and you can see Tiger processing the weight of his words. The car doesn't actually look like a cop car, it's kind of just this random SUV, but whatever, they roll through the projects and you can hear some of the locals yelling out 5-0, 5-0 and stuff like that. This is exactly the type of neighborhood where if you aren't from here or you aren't law enforcement, you really might not make it out alive. The biker idiots are deep in enemy territory. By my count, there's 5 total dudes in the car, 3 members of the biker gang, Cohle and Tiger. The car makes a stop to let Cohle step out before pulling away. Cole's got the biker jacket on. This seems like a deliberate choice by Cohle since they must have had 4 cop uniforms ready to go. Cohle then rolls up behind the stash house while the rest of the crew is already parked and pretending to be the local sheriff's department. They got a gun to Tiger's back as they approach the front of the stash house. Cohle creeps up around the back and ambushes one of the men standing guard, using him as a human meat shield as he walks towards the front door. The bikers might be dressed like cops and have flashlights like cops, but there's clearly something off about their behavior, and you can sense the residents in the projects feeling fishy.
Get back in your house, do it.
There's nothing to see here.
Using their hostages, the crew gains access to the stash house. Okay, before we move inside the house, let's take a break and discuss the initial shots of them rolling into the projects. Damon, what's going on?
If we're gonna look under the hood on this scene, we gotta address these ridiculous cop outfits. Firstly, these guys are lucky they didn't get spotted. A bunch of dudes looking like Sons of Anarchy extras heading to a Pantera reunion show are basically just doing cop cosplay without even trimming their beards up. Secondly, pay attention to the fact that Rust remains in his initial disguise like Chen mentioned. Did they just run out of adult-sized Walmart costumes, or was this a deliberate choice? The establishing shots here aren't the main course, but they're essential in their own right. Like a really, really good appetizer. The view from inside the dirty window starts to give us perspective, and the mission is ballsy to put it lightly, as we've already discussed. They're in an unfamiliar location and surrounded by people who are instantly taking notice of them, and the tension only builds up when we hear the harsh tones being spoken back and forth outside, and the music from inside the house echoing from the door.
Put it down.
And we as the viewer get a sense that the pressure starts to mount. The one-take shot we've all been waiting for has just begun as Rust gets involved in the action.
So now we gotta move into the stash house. The front door to the stash house opens and the dude opening the door has a gun pointed at Cohle and the crew, but the shouts of "Police, police!" and the human hostage meat shields are enough to get the man to lower his weapon and put his hands up. Remember, all this is predicated on the inhabitants of the stash house thinking that this crew is actually police, otherwise full-blown warfare would have resulted. Cohle is elite, so he catches a woman who tries to run off and corrals her back into the living room, where the rest of the biker crew have the inhabitants on their knees in hostage position. At first, the situation in the living room seems to be under control, so Cohle sweeps the rest of the house for threats. Cohle ends up finding a little boy watching TV, which is pretty fucked up when you think about that innocent kid growing up in a drug stash house, but hey, it is what it is, this is real life. Cohle peeks outside the window and sees danger looming. The rest of the people in the projects are starting to grow suspicious since the SUV the bikers pulled up in looks nothing like a cop car. There isn't much time before they all storm inside. Cohle realizes this and grabs the kid and escorts him to the bathroom and tells him to lay down in the tub where he would be much safer from potential gunfire. Cohle then returns to the rest of the crew, where Ginger is being a fucking idiot and just ransacking the place looking for the stash. Cohle is smarter and tells Ginger to stop and let Tiger show them where the stash is. Tiger points to the corner of the room, but Cohle tells Tiger to open it.
It's in there.
You open it, motherfucker.
That maneuver basically saves their lives, because as Tiger opens this panel revealing the cache, we see a grenade as a booby trap. Jesus Christ, good time to take a break.
Rust/Crash takes charge from the jump, and then the light and shadow contrast we get when he's covering the corners of the apartment only adds to the chaos. He also thinks much quicker than everybody else in this crew. Maybe it's the coke. Love the way the wall is also used several times to enhance the panic with a back and forth motion. It's a masterclass in how to leverage cinematography to make more than you have right in front of you on the set. As a side note, Cary Fukunaga is on record saying that since the audience essentially knows Rust is still alive in 2012, the goal of the scene is to pump up the level of visceral dread and suspense that we can all feel. And that classic first-person effect from the one shot leaves you feeling like you're practically in on the heist and following Rust around. Your heart's beating faster, you get all the secondhand nervousness the situation produces from the precise turns to the jittery selective shakes that occur during the calamity. I've seen people compare this scene to a big budget GTA level, or maybe a really cool scene from The Wire, and they aren't wrong. It's kind of like both those things combined.
Yeah, great points, Damon, on the GTA level stuff. This absolutely felt like a level out of San Andreas. But back to the stash house. Unrest is brewing in the living room as the hostages are starting to talk hella shit. Outside the house, we hear a ton of angry voices growing louder. Word is spreading about the operation that's going on, and the neighborhood has to defend its own. They know these aren't real cops, so it's only a matter of time before they storm the stash house. Dumbass Ginger is high as fuck, gleefully putting a ton of cash in the duffel bags, while Cohle is growing more and more nervous because he knows the situation is a ticking time bomb.
Easy, in and out, in and out, in and out.
All of a sudden, a brick flies through the window, and this pretty much acts as a lighter on gasoline.
They are gathering out there.
One of the hostages, Lamar, starts talking a ton of shit to one of the bikers, and the drugged out biker shoots him in the fucking head. Cohle realizes it's over. Another biker breaks the window open more and starts firing his shotgun outside. Gunshots start ringing out and shots are being fired into the stash house. Good time to take a break before continuing because it's now about to be every man for themselves.
I feel like I'm watching an MVP carry a horrendous supporting cast.
Let's get in and get the fuck out, Ginger.
It's Christmas time, guys. We got this shit.
Easy, in and out, in and out, in and out.
These guys have no clue how to retain composure in this atmosphere, and they're basically flipping out while on the job. To be fair, it's not the kind of thing any sort of normal human being, including myself, could handle. Rust is different, though you can still see in his eyes if you look closely that there is a little more fear creeping in. My favorite example of just how incompetent these guys are is when Rust yells,
Don't fucking fire.
and then the tall dude just immediately fires. God damn it. The audio from the gunshot produces that ringing in the ears, and it compounds on the dizzying camera work. We start to feel the weight of the decision as shit absolutely crumbles around this poorly laid scheme. For Rust to flip back to detective mode in the midst of all this, it takes some crazy pocket presence and awareness. He's playing three roles: part of the biker crew, part of the fake cop crew who busted in while not actually being in the same uniform, and his actual self, detective, well, on mind-boggling amounts of hard drugs.
Yeah, both Russ's boldness and his calmness under pressure is just fucking insane. But back to the stash house. All hell is breaking loose, and Cohle sprints to the back of the stash house and peeks outside the back door and sees that it's clear for now. Gunfire is breaking out everywhere. Cohle runs back into the house and just clocks Ginger a few times in the stomach. At this point, his entire plan is to get he and Ginger out of there alive. Another biker runs over with a shotgun, and as he fires on Cohle knocks the shotgun sideways, where Tiger catches the full brunt of a stomach shot. Let's replay this real quick, cause holy shit. Cohle kills the biker with a throat punch as Tiger slumps to the ground dead. Those body shots must have fucked Ginger up badly because he stumbles out of the back of the house and is slumped on the grass. Cohle runs out and grabs him and gets him to his feet, holding a pistol to his head the entire time. It's absolutely nuts because as Cohle is escorting him out, we see other members from the projects run into the back of the stash house as another biker runs out. The biker gets mopped right away and takes numerous baseball bat swings to the head before catching a pistol shot. He's dead as fuck. I'm still trying to figure out how the guys didn't see Cohle and Ginger, but the more I think about it, the more realistic it feels. It's nighttime, there's gunfire everywhere, it's straight up chaos. In these type of settings, it does make more sense that people would lose sight of things in the heat of battle. Think of how much friendly fire actually took place during war back then before we had technology and shit. But anyways, we gotta take a break.
Here's where the gunslinger term is ironically correct. Rust is the smartest, most controlled guy in the operation. Really the only time he goes to the gunslinger level is when he double crosses Ginger and then barely makes it out of the stash house alive, which is pretty sick, but probably wasn't what Ginger was bargaining for. That signature shot to the copter and then back down is really disorienting, but really cool at the same time. It creatively widens our perspective and reintroduces us to the chaos developing outside the projects. The outside shots remind me a lot of the way that the one-shot technique is actually used in The Revenant during one of the key battles. And another thing from the production standpoint that gets lost in the shuffle is that this was shot within an actual housing project while ammunition, special effects, and bricks were flying left and right.
As Cohle is leading Ginger out of the stash house, Ginger's cursing Cohle out. We see the helicopter from earlier return over the neighborhood. A full-blown gun battle has taken place, so the real cops must be on the way. The camera rolls up to see the copter, and then that same shot, as Damon mentioned earlier, this one take, that same shot flows down and we see Cohle storm into another house while keeping Ginger in a headlock. Nobody in this house is armed, so Cohle easily subdues the inhabitants and gets them into the bathroom. Cohle shuts the door and then quickly dials the number of the burner phone that Hart has, telling him to get down there in 90 seconds.
Marty, okay. I need you to be at Amelia Street between 18th and 19th in 90 seconds. You got it?
We gotta take a break here, Damon. I'm losing my fucking mind.
They applied makeup to reflect Ginger's head injury in between when the camera pans away and then pans back to Rust and Ginger later in the 6-minute sequence. There are also some shades of The Wire like we mentioned before throughout the episode, but the cinematography takes the concept to a whole new level. The fact that Rust picks out another random house that was clean was a turn of great luck. What are the odds that the person in there is not pissed off and trying to get in on whatever's happening out there?
Yeah, man, extremely fortunate that he picked a house of civilians. Anyways, Ginger is still slumped against the wall, but he manages to get up and tries to stumble away while Cohle is on the phone. Cohle runs out of the house to go after Ginger, but is ambushed by a few Project goons. Cohle flips the first guy over and subdues him with a strike to the back of the head, but takes a fucking baseball bat to the back. Cohle is such a monster. He's like Nate Diaz. He simply does not go down no matter how many hits he takes. He ducks another baseball bat strike and then clocks the dude in the head with his pistol, then hits him in the back of the head. The other dude is starting to get up when Cohle hits him again to put him down. Ginger is just completely out of his mind, stumbling around like an idiot so he doesn't get far away. Cohle runs up and clocks him again. It's like in Pokemon when you don't want to kill the Pokemon, but you just want to get its damage down enough to weaken it so you can catch it. That's what Cole's doing to Ginger. Cohle headlocks Ginger and pulls him into the shadows just in time as other gang members are running into the fray, so they stay hidden out of sight. We see a ton of dudes running by as cop cars are flying by as well. Once again, it's not like Cohle and Ginger are super hidden, but in the heat of battle, they can pass by unnoticed. Cohle continues to sneak Ginger through some backyards as more cop cars roll into the projects. Ginger is cursing him out, but it doesn't matter.
You get yours, fucking crash, you motherfucker.
They cross a street and we see that there are numerous cop cars outside of the stash house. It's a straight up war zone right now. As Cohle and Ginger are hiding in the bushes, we get a shot of one of the gang members watching the scene with the cop cars taking place. He runs back into the house and then we see numerous gang members packing heavy artillery and getting ready for a major gun battle. These dudes are gonna go toe to toe with the cops. We see Cohle and Ginger sneaking around the backside of that same house that the gang members are in. Once again, these gang members have more artillery than fucking Baghdad. We see 4 dudes roll out with assault rifles as Cohle and Ginger are hiding behind a wall. As mentioned earlier, it's a scene straight out of GTA San Andreas. A woman runs out after them, and this is when Cohle decides to push Ginger out and force him to climb a fence just to get out of the projects. The woman sees them and tries to get the attention of the dudes who just rolled out, but they're already too far away to hear her, and they're focused on shooting it out with the cops. Cohle bullies Ginger into climbing the fence and Hart pulls up just in time. Cohle throws Ginger into the car and they drive off. The camera pans out and up and we see absolute chaos breaking out in the projects. Damon, talk to me, man.
Again, like Chen said, we're back in the video game feel as he exits that call with Marty. The costumes are a key thing to address here. Anybody with a cop costume on is going to be a target in some way because that's who initially took the first shot and word of that then spread. Rust's biker getup is essentially a bootleg camouflage for a moment during the escape, along with the bushes and the fact that Ginger is below eye line. As a side note, it's not too often your captive runs away and then comes right back. Ginger is either experiencing symptoms of CTE or he thinks he's better off with Rust than he is trying to make it out on his own, and he's absolutely correct. Look at this guy. Rust is still reading the holes in his defense like Reggie Bush on a punt return. The perspective shift to the house loading up, ready to join the fight, gives us a break from Rust in general. Funny, these are actually the guys who end up as the last remaining obstacle to Rust and Ginger making it out in one piece, and we've still kept the marathon one shot up until Rust and Ginger get into Marty's car. The first time I saw this, I was borderline fatigued and I felt like I'd nearly experienced secondhand PTSD from the utter mayhem. That being said, I have rewatched it 17 times. And you should too, after you hit like and subscribe.
Well, that does it for our deep dive on the best scene in True Detective. Remember, this is just our opinion, but if you disagree, comment below. Like we've said numerous times, if you're new to True Detective, go watch season 1. It's just a masterpiece on so many levels. The Projects raid scene is one of the coolest scenes I've seen in TV period, so I hope y'all enjoyed our discussion of the scene. If you enjoyed this video, then hit the subscribe button. We'll be back with way more.